The hotel receipt shook between Noah Elridge's fingers. Holiday Inn Express, Presidential Suite, guest R. Monroe, additional guest T. Brinker, date March 15th, his 38th birthday. The same day Riley claimed she had to work late at her teaching job interview prep session. Noah's Cherokee grandmother had taught him that patience was a hunter's greatest weapon. 3 generations of Elridge blood had learned to track prey across seasons, to wait for the perfect moment to strike. As he stood in the abandoned warehouse where he worked inventory, surrounded by towers of cardboard boxes and the smell of diesel exhaust, that ancestral patience crystallized into something cold and calculating. 6 months earlier, everything had been different. Riley Monroe had proposed to him on their sagging front porch, fireflies dancing between power lines in the humid July air. Her dark eyes reflected streetlight as she dropped to one knee on weathered boards. "Noah, will you marry me?" Noah choked and started coughing. She continued, "I know I screwed up, dropping out of the teaching program after failing those certification exams. But I want to build something real with you. A family. A future worth fighting for." He'd said yes before she finished speaking. Riley Monroe, with her infectious laugh and fierce ambition, had chosen him over every smooth-talking college boy, every muscle-bound gym rat, including Todd Brinker, who delivered packages and bragged about his bench press numbers. Or so he'd believed. The warehouse door crashed open, interrupting his thoughts. Lena Torres stepped inside, shaking November rain from her jacket. She supervised Noah's second job at the 24-hour supermarket, where he stocked shelves from midnight to dawn. "You're here late again. That's every night this week." "Overtime pays Riley's tuition," Noah replied, folding the receipt carefully into his wallet. 25 grand doesn't earn itself." Lena's expression darkened. She was Apache on her mother's side, sharp as obsidian and twice as cutting when necessary. "About your wife's education. I saw something today that's going to make your blood boil. Speak plainly." Riley. "At Lux Nails on 3rd Street, getting a full manicure and gossiping with the girls. This was 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. Didn't you tell me she had advanced childhood psychology classes all afternoon?" The words hit Noah like ice water in his veins. "You certain it was her?" "Dead certain. She was laughing about some guy named Todd buying her drinks at Murphy's Tavern. Said she was living her best life before settling down for real this time." Lena stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Brother, something stinks like a 3-day-old fish here." That evening, Noah sat alone in his kitchen, drinking bitter black coffee and thinking. The house felt different now, contaminated by suspicion. Riley had texted him an hour ago. "Study group running late tonight. Professor wants us to review case studies until we get them perfect. Don't wait up, baby. Love you." But Lena's words echoed in his head. If Riley was getting her nails done at 2 p.m., laughing about drinks with Todd, what study group was she attending at 9 p.m.? Noah opened his laptop and began researching. Security cameras, GPS tracking devices, voice-activated recorders. His grandmother had tracked deer and elk across mountain wilderness with nothing but footprints and intuition. He would track his wife's lies with 21st century technology. The front door opened at 12:23 a.m. Riley stumbled inside, reeking of cigarettes and cheap cologne that definitely wasn't her usual perfume. "How was the study session?" Noah asked from the kitchen doorway. "Exhausting. We covered 3 chapters of developmental psychology. My brain feels like scrambled eggs." Riley yawned dramatically, avoiding eye contact. "I'm going straight to bed." She kissed his cheek, a quick, guilty peck, and disappeared upstairs. Noah heard the shower running for 20 minutes, longer than her usual 5-minute rinses. The next morning, after Riley left for her supposed morning seminar, Noah installed a button-sized camera under the hallway shelf. Motion-activated wireless transmission, cloud storage backup. Then he drove to the cell phone store. "Family tracking plan," he told the clerk. "Want to monitor my wife's location for safety reasons?" The young man nodded sympathetically. "Lot of folks doing that these days. This app will show you real-time GPS coordinates plus 30-day history logs." Noah paid cash and activated the service during his lunch break. Riley's phone showed her current location, apartment complex on the east side of town. Noah had searched Todd Brinker Ridgeville on Facebook, a selfie at East Ridge Lofts, app 202. The same was Riley's location. For 2 weeks, Noah methodically documented Riley's deception like an anthropologist studying a foreign culture. The pattern became clear: breakfast at home, then straight to Todd's apartment, afternoons at shopping malls or the gym, evenings at bars and restaurants, always with Todd's credit card picking up the tab. Meanwhile, Riley continued her performance at home. She spread textbooks across the kitchen table, books Noah discovered she'd bought used online to create props for her lie. She typed frantically on her laptop, creating fake assignments downloaded from teaching websites. "I'm applying for a summer practicum in Costa Rica," she announced one evening, showing him an official-looking application. "It's only $3,000, but it would really boost my resume for when I start teaching." Noah recognized the letterhead from a website that created fake documents. Riley had become an expert forger in addition to being an accomplished liar. "Sounds like an incredible opportunity," he said. "I'll take extra shifts to cover the cost." Riley's face lit up with genuine joy, the first real emotion he'd seen from her in months. She kissed him passionately, running her fingers through his black hair. "God, I love you so much. You're the most supportive husband in the world." The words should have warmed his heart. Instead, they hardened it further. Noah withdrew $3,000 from their emergency fund the next day. He photographed each bill, noting serial numbers, then handed Riley the cash. Her eyes sparkled with greed as she counted the money. That weekend, GPS tracking showed Riley and Todd checking into the Riverside Lodge, a romantic bed and breakfast 2 counties away. The same weekend, she claimed to be attending a mandatory teaching seminar. Noah drove to the location Saturday afternoon. Through the restaurant window, he watched them, feeding each other chocolate-covered strawberries and drinking champagne. His phone camera captured everything in high-definition clarity. Sunday evening, Riley returned home with elaborate stories about the seminar's inspirational speakers and networking opportunities. She even showed him a fake certificate of attendance she'd created on her laptop. "The presenters were amazing," she gushed. "Dr. Martinez talked about innovative classroom management techniques, and Dr. Chen discussed multicultural learning approaches." Noah nodded sympathetically while internally cataloging every lie. His evidence folders grew thicker each day. Bank statements, GPS logs, photographs, text message records, credit card receipts. Riley's mother, Carla, visited the following week, her gravelly smoker's voice filling the kitchen like toxic fog. "You know, Noah, Riley's always been special, too smart and ambitious for her own good sometimes." Carla's pale eyes studied him over her coffee mug. "She needs room to grow, to explore her potential before she gets locked into domestic routine." "What exactly are you saying?" "I'm saying Riley's got big dreams. Sometimes a woman needs to spread her wings before she settles down completely." Carla's smile was cold as winter rain. "You understand, don't you? A man wants his wife to be fulfilled and happy." Understanding hit Noah like a falling pine tree. Carla knew about Todd. She was actively encouraging Riley's betrayal, probably applauding her daughter's manipulation skills. "I understand perfectly," Noah replied, his voice steady as granite bedrock. The GPS data revealed Riley's routine had expanded. Tuesday afternoons at Todd's apartment, Thursday evenings at Murphy's Tavern, weekend getaways to hotels and bed and breakfasts, always charged to credit cards Noah was unwittingly paying off. Riley's performance at home became more elaborate to compensate. She created detailed schedules of fictitious classes, complete with professor names and assignment due dates. She even staged phone conversations with imaginary classmates, discussing projects that existed only in her imagination. "Professor Williams wants us to design a complete lesson plan for teaching fractions to 3rd graders, she told Noah one evening, surrounded by education textbooks she'd never actually read. "Sounds challenging." "It is, but I'm learning so much. This program is exactly what I needed to become the teacher I've always wanted to be." Noah printed everything. Bank records showing cash withdrawals that didn't match her claimed expenses. Credit card statements revealing charges at restaurants and hotels. GPS logs proving she was never at any educational institution. Photographs documenting her real activities. He organized the evidence in manila folders like his grandmother had taught him to organize medicinal plants, by type, by date, by potency. Each folder represented another nail in the coffin of Riley's lies. That Saturday, GPS tracking showed Riley and Todd at the Whispering Pines Resort, a luxury spa destination 3 hours north. The same weekend, she claimed to be attending a required statistics workshop. Noah had seen enough. Sunday evening, he waited in the kitchen, with Riley's evidence file spread across the table like tarot cards predicting doom. Riley's key turned in the lock at 11:47 p.m. She crept inside, shoes in hand, trying not to wake him. "How was the statistics workshop?" Noah asked from the shadows. Riley jumped, dropping her heels with a clatter. "Jesus Christ, Noah, you scared the hell out of me. Why are you sitting in the dark?" "Couldn't sleep. Worried about you driving so late after such an intensive learning session?" Noah turned on the overhead light, and Riley's face went bone white. Funny thing, though, I called the university where the workshop was supposedly held. They said no statistics seminar was scheduled this weekend. What? Riley's voice cracked like thin ice. That's impossible. Maybe they made a mistake, or maybe... You've been lying to me. Noah's voice remained eerily calm, the eye of a hurricane concealing devastating winds. Maybe there's no teaching program. Maybe Todd Brinker is more than just some delivery guy you barely know from the gym. Riley's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. Noah continued with surgical precision. Room 314 at the Whispering Pines Resort. Todd paid for champagne service and couples massage. You wore the black dress I bought you for our anniversary dinner. Noah pulled out his phone, scrolling through high-resolution photographs. Should I continue, or do you want to start telling the truth? You followed me? Riley's shock transformed into righteous indignation. You psychotic stalker. You've been spying on me like some kind of deranged detective. I've been protecting my investment, $31,000 to be exact. That's what I've given you for your imaginary education. Noah spread bank statements across the table. Here's what's going to happen. Tomorrow morning, you pack your belongings and get out of my house. Tonight, you sleep on the couch if you sleep at all. You can't throw me out. This is my home, too. Actually, it's not. The lease is in my name exclusively. You never contributed a single dollar to rent, utilities, or household expenses. Noah's smile could have frozen blood in Arctic veins. Check the paperwork if you don't believe me. Riley's bravado crumbled like a house built on sand. Noah, please. Let me explain everything. I was scared, okay? Scared of failing those teaching exams again, scared of disappointing you, scared of admitting I wasn't smart enough for college. So you decided to steal from me instead? I never meant for it to go this far. Todd was he was someone who didn't know about my failures. Someone who thought I was interesting and worthwhile. Tears streamed down Riley's face, smearing her carefully applied makeup. What we had together, it didn't mean anything real. Then explain these. Noah held up photographs showing Riley and Todd in passionate embraces, their bodies intertwined in ways that spoke of deep feekings. Riley stared at the images, her face crumpling. You don't understand what it's like to feel stupid all the time, to know everyone thinks you're a failure. Todd made me feel special, like I had value. You had value to me. I worked 2 jobs to pay for your dreams. I sacrificed sleep, health, and social life to support your goals. Noah's voice cracked for the first time, revealing the pain beneath his controlled fury. You were my wife. I would have done anything for you. I know that's what made it so hard. What made it hard was lying every single day. What made it hard was stealing money from someone who loved you. What made it hard was screwing another man while I worked myself into exhaustion paying for your fantasies. Riley sobbed openly now, mascara creating black rivers down her cheeks. I love you, Noah. Todd doesn't mean anything compared to what we have together. We don't have anything together. We never did. You married me for financial security and emotional support while you explored other options. Noah gathered the photographs and documents, his movements precise and final. Tomorrow, you leave. Tonight, figure out how you're going to explain this to your boyfriend when he finds out you're homeless. Riley spent the night crying on the living room couch. Noah listened from upstairs, feeling nothing but cold satisfaction mixed with the bitter taste of betrayal. Attorney Sarah Chen examined Noah's evidence with the methodical precision of a forensic scientist. Bank records, photographs, GPS tracking logs, text messages, and hotel receipts covered her polished conference table like pieces of an intricate puzzle. This documentation is remarkably comprehensive, she said, adjusting wire-rimmed glasses. Your wife committed marriage fraud, identity theft, and systematic financial deception. The forged education documents make this a federal case. How severe are the potential consequences? Significant. Marriage fraud alone carries up to 5 years in prison. Add identity theft and document forgery, she's looking at serious federal charges. Chen pulled up case precedents on her laptop. But there's more. She applied for a state education assistance grant using your social security number and forged signature. That's a separate felony. Noah leaned forward. I didn't know about any grant. $5,000 deposited into her personal account 6 weeks ago. She claimed you were financially supporting her return to higher education. Chen's smile was sharp as a scalping knife. The application includes detailed financial statements showing your income and expenses, all falsified to maximize her grant eligibility. How do we proceed? Divorce first, criminal referral second. I'll file petitions alleging fraud, identity theft, and financial deception. Given your evidence quality, will request complete asset protection, spousal support exemption, and restitution for all stolen funds. Chen closed her laptop with decisive finality. Your wife chose the wrong man to deceive, Mr. Elridge. The divorce papers were served at Carla Monroe's house, where Riley had been staying since their confrontation. According to Lena's surveillance reports, Riley spent her days crying and calling Todd, who refused to answer. Noah's phone rang that evening. Riley's voice was hoarse from constant weeping. You don't have to destroy my entire life. We can reach some kind of agreement. No, we can't. I'll pay back every penny. I'll get 2 jobs, sell my car, move in with my mother permanently. Whatever it takes to make this right. Make what right? The lies, the theft, the adultery? Which part exactly are you planning to fix? All of it. I'll do anything to earn your forgiveness. Forgiveness? Noah's laugh was bitter as burnt coffee. You systematically defrauded me for 8 months. You committed identity theft using my personal information. You conducted an extramarital affair funded by money you stole from me, but you want forgiveness? I made terrible mistakes. You made calculated choices. Every hotel reservation, every fake document, every lie you told me was a deliberate decision. Noah's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. You chose Todd over me repeatedly. Now live with the consequences of those choices. Riley appeared at his workplace the next afternoon, creating a scene in the warehouse parking lot that drew attention from every employee. She begged, pleaded, and finally screamed at him in front of his coworkers. You're destroying an innocent person's life. You destroyed your own life. I'm just refusing to pay for the cleanup. Todd arrived as backup, his pickup truck screeching into the parking lot with unnecessary drama. He climbed out slowly, all swagger and puffed-up machismo, wearing a tight t-shirt that showcased his gym-built physique. We need to talk man to man, Todd announced, approaching Noah with his chest thrust forward like a rooster's displaying for dominance. Nothing to discuss. You can have her. It's not about Riley anymore. It's about respect. Todd shoved Noah backward with both hands. You've been offended my woman, making her cry every night with your legal games. That ends now. Noah stumbled, but didn't fall, his warehouse, strengthened legs maintaining balance. Your woman? That's interesting, because she's still legally my wife. Not for long. Riley deserves better than some warehouse worker who spies on people like a creepy stalker. The punch came without warning, Todd's right hook aimed directly at Noah's jaw. But Noah had been expecting violence since Todd arrived. He ducked low, letting Todd's momentum carry him forward, then drove his own fist into Todd's solar plexus with precision born from years of moving heavy freight. Todd doubled over, gasping for air like a landed fish. Noah grabbed his shirt with both hands and slammed him against the concrete warehouse wall hard enough to rattle the building's metal siding. Listen very carefully, you piece of garbage. Stay away from me, stay away from my workplace, and stay away from my legal proceedings. Noah's voice was deadly quiet, carrying the menace of winter wind through bare trees. You want Riley? Congratulations, she's all yours. But her problems become your problems now. Todd tried to swing again, but Noah caught his wrist and twisted until small bones popped audibly. The delivery driver cried out in pain, his tough guy facade crumbling instantly. I work construction on weekends and move 1,000-pound freight pallets every day. You lift weights at a gym for show. Noah applied more pressure to Todd's wrist until tears appeared in the man's eyes. I'll guess which type of strength is actually useful in a real fight. Security guards approached, having been alerted by the commotion. Todd limped back to his truck, clutching his injured wrist and muttering threats he lacked the courage to act upon. Riley stood frozen beside her car, watching the man she'd married reveal a side of himself she'd never imagined existed. You're not the same person I fell in love with, she whispered, fear replacing defiance in her voice. Neither are you, Noah replied, straightening his work shirt. Difference is, I'm becoming someone stronger. You're becoming someone weaker. The divorce hearing took place in Judge Patricia Hawkins's courtroom, a sterile chamber that smelled of furniture polish and human desperation. Judge Hawkins was a stern woman with silver hair and eyes sharp enough to cut glass, known throughout the county for her intolerance of deception. Riley sat at the defendant's table with a court-appointed public defender, having been unable to afford private legal representation. Her face was puffy from weeks of crying, her clothes wrinkled and ill-fitting. Todd was conspicuously absent. Mr. Elridge, Judge Hawkins began, reviewing case files with obvious distaste. You're alleging marriage fraud, identity theft, and systematic financial deception. These are extremely serious accusations. Yes, Your Honor. The evidence speaks for itself. Sarah Chen stood, addressing the court with professional authority that commanded immediate attention. Your Honor, the defendant orchestrated an elaborate deception spanning 8 months. She fabricated enrollment in a non-existent educational program, fraudulently obtained state funding using my client's identity, and conducted an extramarital affair funded entirely by money obtained through false pretenses. Your Honor, Riley's public defender interrupted weakly. My client acknowledges making poor personal choices but maintains that no actual criminal fraud was intended. This appears to be a case of marital discord rather than deliberate criminal activity. Judge Hawkins examined the evidence methodically. Photographs, bank records, hotel receipts, GPS tracking data, forged documents, and falsified grant applications. The weight of documented proof was overwhelming and undeniable. Mrs. Elridge, did you or did you not apply for state educational assistance using your husband's social security number and personal information without his knowledge or consent? Riley's voice was barely audible. I did, Your Honor. Did you or did you not use funds designated specifically for educational expenses to pay for personal entertainment, travel, and recreational activities? Yes, but I intended. Were you or were you not actually enrolled in any accredited educational institution during the 8-month period in question? Riley's public defender whispered urgently in her ear. She shook her head miserably. No, Your Honor. Judge Hawkins leaned back in her leather chair, her expression reflecting years of witnessing human deception and moral failure. Mrs. Elridge, your actions constitute a clear pattern of deliberate fraud designed to systematically defraud your husband of substantial financial resources. This court finds overwhelming evidence of marriage fraud, identity theft, and criminal deception. Riley began sobbing openly, her cries echoing through the courthouse chamber. However, Judge Hawkins continued, this court's primary responsibility in divorce proceedings is equitable distribution of marital assets and financial obligations. Noah felt his stomach clench. Was Riley going to escape meaningful consequences after all? Mr. Elridge, you're requesting complete asset protection and total exemption from spousal support obligations. Given the clear evidence of systematic fraud and criminal deception, this court grants your request in full. Mrs. Elridge will receive no portion of marital assets, no spousal support of any kind, and will bear complete responsibility for all debts incurred through her fraudulent activities. Riley's sobs transformed into wails of despair. Her public defender patted her shoulder helplessly. Furthermore, Judge Hawkins added with finality, I am referring this case to the district attorney's office for immediate criminal investigation. Mrs. Elridge, you should expect contact from federal prosecutors regarding potential charges for identity theft, fraud, and misuse of government funds. The gavel fell with the sound of absolute justice. Noah felt 8 months of tension drain from his shoulders like poison leaving his system. Outside the courthouse, Riley waited by his pickup truck, her face streaked with tears and smeared makeup, looking like a broken woman who'd finally been forced to confront reality. Are you satisfied now? She asked, her voice raw from crying. You've taken absolutely everything from me. I recovered what was mine. You're the one who threw everything away for cheap thrills with a delivery driver. I loved you, Noah. I really, truly loved you. I just got scared and made incredibly stupid decisions. Love doesn't steal money from people. Love doesn't lie for months on end. Love doesn't commit identity theft for personal gain. Noah unlocked his truck door, his movements calm and deliberate. What you felt for me wasn't love. It was financial convenience mixed with emotional security. So, this is really it? After everything we meant to each other, everything we shared, you're just walking away forever? Noah paused, his hand on the door handle, considering his response carefully. Riley, you walked away from our marriage the first time you lied to my face. You walked away the first time you kissed Todd. You walked away the first time you spent my money on him. I'm just finally catching up to where you've been for months. He drove away without looking back, leaving Riley standing alone on the courthouse steps like a woman watching her entire world collapse around her. 6 weeks later, Noah's phone buzzed with a text from an unfamiliar number. Please, we need to talk. It's important. He deleted it without responding. 2 hours later, another message. I'm pregnant. The baby might be yours. Noah smiled grimly and typed back. Impossible. I can't have children because of some med issues. Medical records available if needed. His phone rang immediately. Riley's voice was hysterical with desperation. That's not true. You never told me about any vasectomy. You told that never wanted children. Noah's voice was ice-cold mountain water. That's your child-free person? It wasn't serious. Noah pulled into his new apartment complex, satisfied with the sound of Riley's world completely disintegrating. Congratulations on your pregnancy. I'm sure Todd will be absolutely thrilled to become a father. Todd won't answer my calls. He says the baby isn't his responsibility. Sounds like you have some very difficult conversations ahead of you. Noah ended the call and blocked the number permanently. The criminal charges were filed 8 weeks later. Federal prosecutors brought counts of identity theft, marriage fraud, misuse of government funds, and document forgery. Riley's mugshot appeared in the county newspaper alongside detailed descriptions of her elaborate deception. The story went viral on social media, shared thousands of times with comments ranging from outrage to mockery. Local news stations picked up the story. Woman steals husband's identity to fund affair. Riley became a cautionary tale shared across the internet. Her photograph attached to articles about marriage fraud and financial deception. Carla Monroe attempted to call Noah repeatedly, presumably to beg mercy for her criminal daughter. He never answered. Lena knocked on Noah's apartment door one evening, carrying a bottle of bourbon and wearing a satisfied smile. "I thought you might want to celebrate," she said, stepping inside. Riley made the evening news again. Turns out investigators discovered she ran similar scams on 3 other men before you, all involving fake college enrollment stories. They sat on Noah's balcony, drinking whiskey, and watching sunset paint the sky red over the city where his marriage had died and been buried. "You feel guilty about any of it?" Lena asked. Noah considered the question with the seriousness it deserved. "I feel guilty about the man I used to be. Trusting, naive, willing to sacrifice everything for someone who saw me as nothing more than a walking ATM machine. And now? Now I feel like myself again. My grandmother used to say that some people mistake kindness for weakness, generosity for stupidity. She taught me that the strongest warriors choose their battles carefully and fight them to complete victory." Noah raised his glass toward the darkening sky. Riley thought she was manipulating a harmless sheep. Turned out she was trying to fleece a wolf who happened to be sleeping. The trial proceeded swiftly. Riley pleaded guilty to avoid maximum prison sentences, receiving 3 years probation, complete restitution requirements, and a permanent felony record. The baby was born 4 months later. DNA testing confirmed Todd as the biological father, but he'd already relocated to another state. Riley's teaching dreams died permanently under the weight of her criminal record. No school district would employ someone convicted of fraud and identity theft. She found part-time work at a discount retail store, living in a studio apartment subsidized by her increasingly bitter mother. Noah received one final text message on the first anniversary of their divorce. "Do you ever miss me?" He stared at the words for several minutes, remembering the woman who'd proposed to him on their front porch, who'd promised to build a life together, who'd looked directly into his eyes every day while systematically betraying everything they'd supposedly shared. Finally, he typed his response, "No." Then he blocked her number forever. 18 months after the divorce, Noah had built a completely new life. He kept his warehouse job, but eliminated the brutal overtime schedule. His evenings belonged to him again. Time for reading, exercise, and the peaceful solitude he'd forgotten he valued.